Hello, hello! Today I'm bringing you a completely different kind of video, a video I've never really done before. This is a requested video by 2 of my subscribers. I have one subscriber, hi Brew, who wants to see how I do my eyeshadow looks. He loves my eyeshadow looks. And then I have another subscriber, Robin, who's constantly like, I can't wait to see this eyeshadow look. I want to see you do your eyeshadow looks. I'm usually just reviewing the palettes, so this is both for you, Brew, and Robin, who have been requesting these type of videos. So today I'm going to do one type of look. I thought I would try to spread this out amongst 3 days. And it's a how I do my eyeshadow looks also, but with a review. So I will also be reviewing, this is the Beaute Envy palette. And I think I had a really good response with the Oceanic palette. It seems like pretty good amount of views on that. So I think people are interested right now in these beautiful green blue palettes. This is another one that they have. It's a nice small one. And in 3 days, I'm going to use this entire palette. I'm going to use about 4 shades every day. And every day I'm going to create a new kind of eye look. I guess a new kind of process each time. That's my goal. I'm going to try and do different techniques-ish every time I use this palette today. And today I thought we would start with the blues. So we're going to start with this blue here and then down this row right here. It's going to be kind of maybe a crazy look, so we'll see how I end up doing. I really try to use as many shades in a palette as I can, but then also I always use the shimmers in a palette. So today we will be doing a blue look. This is day 1, and here we go. The first thing that I always do, and I recently just started doing this, I only just started doing this during the pandemic. Before that, I would just put my eyeshadows straight on to my eyelid, but I've been putting on concealer on my eye as a base because I really like intense colors. I think that the base also helps it stay a little bit longer, but if you have a base that isn't very good, it can also make it last a lot less because it starts to kind of like roll up and crease. So this is, I've used this before, this is the Juvia's Place concealer. This is I think in J19 is what it was called. And we'll be also using 3 different types of bases just so you can see the variety of how I do my makeup. But yeah, I just take some concealer, put some on my eyes, and I use a sponge to blend it out. And I don't really need to blend it out as much as I just need to pat it onto my eye and make sure I get between all those wrinkles and gaps and spaces on my eyelid properly. And this just makes sure that it really gives that pop of color. So today I thought I would do, I love to work in gradients. So today's gradient will be from a light blue to darker blues. So you'll need 2 brushes. That's, when we're talking basics of the basics, you really only need 2 brushes. You need a flat one for your shimmer shade, and then you'll need a nice fluffy one for your outer corners. So there's a lot of options that you can use for your shimmer shades. For shimmer shades, I have some in here I haven't even used yet. For a shimmer shade, these are the types of brushes I recommend. It's something that looks like it would be used for a concealer. Like any of these brushes, I would use for my eyeshadow. You can see there, it's very flat. Even this one, which looks like it'd be most likely used for like an eyeliner, or this one that might look like it's a little too thick. All of these I've used and I do use as brushes I use for my shimmer. So you're going to pick your one brush you're going to apply your shimmer with. I think today, I'm going to use this BH brush that's called Rounded Shader, and I'm going to use this as the first attempt. Sometimes, if you want to give the palette the benefit of the doubt, sometimes it is the brush. Sometimes it's the brush that can't pick it up, and I'll try another brush, and another brush will be able to pick it up. But I'm going to trust this one first, and then we're going to need a fluffy brush. And again, you just need a different type of brush. Let me pick that up. Let's see. There's also a lot of options and thicknesses. You just need something for your outer corners. Like all of these, you just need it to be fluffy. You need something that can, ooh, look at all that dust, that can just fluff out and nicely blend out your edges. Look at that. Once you got that end applied. So any of these brushes would do. Today I think I will use probably this Morphe brush. I'm going to use a Morphe brush for my outer today. So I got my 2 brushes that I'm going to work with today, and since I'm working with my gradient, I'm going to try and work from lightest to darkest. So for this eye look, we're going to start with Phantasm. And Phantasm I'm going to put into my inner corner. I'm going to try and face this way so you can see as I'm applying it. This is my first time trying this palette, so I'm really hoping it's not a dud and messes up the entire eye look. It's a little flaky, but let's try and apply. Okay, it's doing a little better as I apply. And I like to do both eyes at the same time. Sometimes I'll see YouTubers do one eye or have one eye already done, and then they'll do the other eye with you. But I don't think I could remember all those steps if I just didn't do it all at the same time. So I'm just going to lay it flat. And I get I'm really messy. I'm a really messy makeup person. So I will have a bunch of fallout on my eye. I think a lot of the time that's just because of me. I always will take a makeup wipe and clean it up at the end. So I really don't worry about fallout on my face too much, because I always do my foundation and the blush and all that stuff at the end. And I'm just, let's see. I don't think I'm picking it up any different. I don't have anything on my brush. I rarely, if ever, apply anything onto my brush, just because I think that good makeup doesn't usually need that pick-me-up. Like, I shouldn't have to wet my brush to be able to pick up the product. So I really try not to, and in most cases I do not. So it's like almost to the middle of the eye, but it's not. And that's how I usually start mine. Now we're going to do the other eye. I always add until I feel comfortable with the amount that I've added onto my eye, and I feel like as soon as it looks like it's not transparent, I'm usually good and I'm done. So I've done my inner quarter almost halfway down my eyelid. Now from there, I'm now going to, I usually use the same brush. What I'll do is I'll just flip it over from the side I just used to the other side that is not used. So now I'm going to go into the other shimmer, which is this one right here. This is Dominate. And this is the other shimmer. It's a dark shimmer. So we'll see how this one applies. The blue shimmers can usually get a little crazy, but I'm going to gently start right where I left off, where this line is right here. And I'm just going to let it take over the rest of my eyelid. I'm going to let it kind of carve out the shape that I want, in a way. Because I don't want to go too high yet, because I'm still going to add more and blend some out. So this shade looks like it's a little bit of a different formula than this really light kind of aqua baby blue color. I'm just going to start like this. And not every eyeshadow look is a win, so we'll see if this one ends up pretty or not. Sometimes it's a mess, but this is how I would apply these colors when I look at this color story. I don't feel like I need to apply too much of the blue because I will be darkening it. And we can always clean up these outer lines as well. So I'm going to bring this up a little higher. So it's not too bad. So it kind of looks like, if we get a little closer, it's almost a line straight down the middle. From there, I think I would try to blend that out. So I'm going to go back into my light color, and I'm going to try and just go down this line right here. I'm going to flip it back over, because now I want to try and marry these two together. And I think it usually looks better when you use the light shade and bring it in. Well, I guess bring it out really. Bring it into the darker color, where you're actually bringing it out towards your outer corner. And you just go back and forth. So now this feels a little too light, so I went back into that dark blue. But now you can see pretty much that harsh line that was there, it's gone. It's not there anymore. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I might dip a little bit back into that light blue. And then I'm going to try and marry these two colors together. And I usually just go up and down. So you go up, you go back up, and you pull it down. And I feel like that usually blurs a lot better. So now I don't see that line isn't as harsh as it was before. And I always go back and add in if I see there's a little spot where I need to go back into with my blue. I feel like I'm missing a spot right here. I'll go back in with the dark blue and just do my outer corner again. But I will be adding more. So this is a look right here. If you wanted to, I'm gonna grab my little makeup wipe to clean some away. If you wanted to, this could be a makeup look right here. This is how I used to do my makeup in high school. I would just pick two shimmers. I would literally almost go down my eyelid. I'd put one color here, one color on the outside, and then I would blend them down the middle. And this is literally the eye look I would have done back when I was 15 or 16 years old. I would have used blues this bright. So now it's honestly that simple. It's just a lot of practice and making sure you have the right tools to be able to blend it. So now we're going to use the last two shades, which we have Crave and we have Covet. So I don't want to go too heavy-handed because we don't want to make it too dark. So these are they look very pigmented. Yo, okay. And I'm just gonna do outer corner. And it's mostly just like a tap motion. And then I'll start doing little circles. And this is kind of, honestly, it's probably going to overtake this shimmer shadow. But I don't want to go further than the dark shadow I've already placed. I pretty much always will start right at the corner of where your eye is. And then gently blend in. And just to be safe, it's also a pretty good little tip to just follow your eye shape right here. So if it goes too dark, at least it ends up being a nice shadow. So I'm pretty happy with the amount that I applied there. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but I think you can tell, and it is a lot darker over here now than over here. I think you can see that. So I'm going to go over here. This is a really bright, I don't know if I would call this a blue. I might call this like an indigo. It's like a little purple. It's kind of like a denim blue. Start in my corner and then bring it up. Start in my corner and then bring it up. I like to do little swirly motions. Okay. Try to keep it as even as possible. This is when I might start bringing it up. I think that's not too bad. Okay, now I'm gonna move on from Crave and go to Covet. So Covet is even darker, and this is where you could continue using the same brush, and I think I will, just for this technique, I think I will. But you could, from here, also move on to a smaller, kind of rounded tip brush, something like this, just so it gives you more precision. If you have a brush like this, it could be helpful with the precision in specifically marking those dark colors, but because I want to keep it to two brushes, keep it super simple, really basic for you guys, and make sure that, I think brushes like this, like a flat one and a fluffy one, is pretty in a basic kit, so I think most people will have these, so I'm going to continue using this, but this just means you got to be really light-handed and very precise with where you put everything. So I'm going to start with just pressing it in, because you don't want to overwhelm everything. And I love a light shimmer, and then a medium shimmer, and then like a nice dark color to put into your outer corners. And it's basically the same motion. You're going to tap, tap, tap. You bring it closer in, and just tap into those corners. And try to follow again this line, this natural shape right here, not so much up here, but just right along that eye. So I'm going to tap, tap, tap back in there. And I'm going to try to very lightly do that, because I think it's going to bring even more depth. And bring it up again. Gently, gently. Bring it up. And this is, I think, how I'm going to leave it. I might bring this up a a little more over here and then clean it up. So I think I might have gone a little too high now. But I never worry because I know I can clean it up and I can make my eyeshadow as big or as small as I want, and I usually just clean it up really well. I don't really worry about, what do they call, like fluffing out or fading out my eyeshadow line. I don't really mind if it kind of ends up in a hard line, honestly. But I would say my everyday, day-to-day, I would say this is done. I would be done with this. If you want to go back in, you can go back in with your flat brush and just kind of work this out a bit more and bring the white, the kind of light blue shade, into that dark blue a bit more. You can do that. I think just so it looks a little bit more blended. I think I kind of want to go back into some more light blue. And this kind of looks like an ocean wave. It looks really pretty. I'm gonna flip it to the dark blue. And just bring it down again. And then from here, I would say this eyeshadow look is done. And I think for this, these first 4 colors worked pretty well. They worked pretty well. So I'm just gonna take my makeup wipe. I'm just gonna start cleaning around my eyes because, y'all, I'm not in any way. I've never pretended to be in any way. I have had people ask, and I think I've done 2 weddings. People have asked me to do their makeup for their wedding day. It's kind of crazy. And I always like to give a disclaimer to them. I'm like, hey, like, I know you may like my makeup, but I'm not a makeup artist. So I just wet mine was kind of dry, so I just wet my little cloth a little bit. And I just go around my eye. So I always tell people, I'm like, I know you may like my makeup, but I'm not a professional. I'm not, like, I don't know anything about color theory or what works best for anyone, but I can show you how I do my makeup. And it's always this, it's always the very same nice compliment of like, I love your eyeshadow, I love how you blend colors out, because that's what, people will see me upload pictures on Facebook, and that's when I start getting the messages of, hey, can you do my eyeshadow for this event? And I'm like, yeah, but please know I'm not a professional makeup artist. So I just take this and I clean up everything on my face. And I think this is something that a lot of other makeup people won't show you. Because they always talk about like, oh, fallout and this and oh, how to clean it up. But I'm always cleaning up my face because I know I'm a messy person and I would rather create like this messy, crazy, chaotic colors and then just clean up the lines. Look, just clean it up, clean up the lines. And you can make any shape you want. So I feel like, go like that. You can create the eyeshadow look you want. Because I've been at the post office and again, same thing. I love your eyeshadow. It's like, oh, I could never do that. And it's like, I think you could. I think you could. You just have to be able to clean up your look after. Don't be afraid to make that mess or go out of the lines. Because even my mom is like, can you do my eyeshadow? And I'll go and do it for her. And she knows it's going to be a mess because I'm like, oh, I want to work outside the lines first and then create the lines. So I think it's a pretty look. This look almost looks like it's coming from like the Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette. I don't know. I think this might be a really, we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to say anything yet. But this is the eyeshadow look. And I'm going to do a quick eyeliner and some mascara and we'll be right back. Okay, so this is basically the finished look. I've added some eyeliner and just some of the usual, what I recommend, the Sky High mascara from Maybelline. But this is basically just all I would do for an eye look, and this is kind of, it reminds me of kind of like an ocean wave because it starts from the lightest to the darkest. And because I applied that other shimmery shade at the end, the whole look, I mean, I don't know, again, I can't tell right now what can be captured on camera and what can't, but in person, the entire eye look is so sparkly and yummy. It looks so good up close in person. This is the first look. I don't know what I would call this one, but this is just, like, I think for me the most basic, kind of maybe the easiest one, because it is literally just looking at your makeup palette, picking the colors you want to wear. So like this would be considered like a blue look. This is the blue look. And then just doing the lightest to the darkest, and also from a light shimmer, a medium shimmer, and then two dark mattes at the end. But this is day one. We'll see what we have. We have 2 more days in store, so on to the next.